now we're going to get to the news. When asked during an interview last week about the national mood, President Biden said, quote, "People are really, really down," even though he did everything he could to make us smile. After falling off his bike over the weekend, President Biden did a brief dance after leaving church to show reporters he was feeling fine. Though, just for the record, we stopped associating dancing with good health some time ago. Members of the House committee investigating the Capitol attack are reportedly considering issuing a subpoena to former Vice President Mike Pence. Good luck. If those lips were any tighter, they'd seal over. Sunday was Father's Day, and what's nicer to hear after "I love you" than "thanks"? An ex-aide to former President Trump revealed in a new interview that while watching President Biden on TV, Trump blurted out, quote, "Can you believe I lost to this guy? Been there," said one woman. After last week's televised hearings on the Capitol attack, former President Trump said on Friday that ex-Vice President Mike Pence did not have the courage to act on January 6th and added, quote, "Mike was afraid of whatever he was afraid of. Getting hanged? You can't threaten to kill a man and then ask what he's so scared of. That's like Jason saying, what? What did I do?" According to a new report, Georgia Republican Senate candidate Herschel Walker has fathered 3 children he has not publicly acknowledged, or his opponent thinks of it. 3 more votes. The New York Times recently published an article about so-called pea cyclers who recycle their urine to use as fertilizer. I don't know. I think if that worked, the subway would look like this. Today, June 21st, is the longest day of the year. That's right. One of my kids has a piano recital. An anonymous bidder recently paid over $19 million for a private lunch in New York City with up to 7 guests and investor Warren Buffett. And I can guess what Buffett's first investment tip will be. I guess I'm the only one that can guess. No, one of you has the same guess as me? He's good. I mean, it's just like jarring to go "oh" for the room. He's gonna come in and he's gonna be like, $19 million is too much to pay for lunch. The toy company Nerf recently unveiled its first ever mascot, which is a character named Murph, though it's hard to imagine that children will have the energy to play with Nerf products since they will never sleep again. In a new interview, former Vice President Mike Pence criticized President Biden and said that he is, quote, "embracing the politics of the radical left." Are you kidding me? If anything, he falls pretty hard to the right. In the same interview, former Vice President Mike Pence said that after the Capitol attack, he talked through it with former President Trump, and then they, quote, "rolled our sleeves up and finished working together." I don't buy it. The only way Trump ever rolled his sleeves up was to sell a fake Rolex. Pence also said in the interview that he will, quote, "always be proud to have served alongside former President Trump because in the end, there is no bond stronger than Stockholm Syndrome." President Biden spent the day yesterday at the beach, and when there was only one set of footprints, that's when Jill carried him. Former President Trump said in a new interview that he has not asked Florida Governor Ron DeSantis if he is running for president in 2024, but added that he thinks he would win over DeSantis. Well, there's only One way to find out: a long, nasty, drawn-out primary season where you two guys are both emotionally and politically eviscerated, debating each other's last brain cell into the ground, destroying the Republican Party and everything you both stand for until there is only one husk of a man left standing in the GOP to actually run in the election. Jeb! There you go. A rare round of applause for Jeb. American Airlines has announced that it will no longer service Toledo, Ohio, due to a pilot shortage, despite being the only commercial carrier to service the city. So if you have to go to Toledo, I have even more bad news. A man in the UK said in a new interview that he drank 30 cans of Pepsi a day for 20 years, but ended his addiction after doing hypnotherapy. Man, that guy must have been hard to hypnotize. You're getting very sleepy. I'm really not, though. I'm wide awake. That's right. A man in the UK said that he drank 30 cans of Pepsi a day for 20 years. Even crazier, another man in the UK has had RC Cola twice. If there's any RC Cola fans in Toledo watching tonight, it's a... Apologies. Today was actor Jussie Smollett's 40th birthday. At least he says it is. Ooh, move over, RC Cola joke. And finally, according to new data, the price of a pound of lettuce has increased by more than 11% in a year. To give you an idea of what a pound of lettuce looks like, order a Big Mac. President Biden spoke today about rising gasoline prices, but just because alternative means of transportation aren't working out. After President Biden fell off his bike over the weekend, former President Trump said he will, quote, never, ever ride a bicycle. Oh, nobody thought you were going to. I mean, at least until you said you weren't, because if this is anything like your past promises, you'll be in the Tour de France next month. I did say Tour de France, Baze. I apologize. I did it real fancy. Tour de France. That's the Tour de France. It's the Tour of... President Biden yesterday signed 2 cybersecurity bills into law. Said Biden, hang on, it's almost done. Says all I gotta do now is enter my social security number and mother's maiden name. President Biden today asked Congress to approve a 3-month pause on the federal gas tax to help combat rising prices. And at this point, he'll try anything. Don't be surprised if he starts giving the price in liters. Got it down to $1.39. Nice. During yesterday's hearing on the Capitol attack, committee members showed texts that indicated Republican Senator Ron Johnson wanted to hand-deliver a list of fake electors for then Vice President Mike Pence to introduce on January 6th. You sent that over text? Dude, how do you send bribes? Venmo? In a new interview, Hillary Clinton said that it would be, quote, out of the question for her to run for president in 2024. Oh, wait, I read that wrong. The interviewer said that. The mayor of Moffett, Colorado, which has 70 dispensaries but only 120 residents, said in a new interview that she is considering changing the name of the town to Kush. Said residents, yeah, we know you said the same thing like 20 minutes ago. Authorities in New York City yesterday crushed nearly 100 illegal dirt bikes with a bulldozer, and 6-year-olds don't know how to feel about it. I mean, I love dirt bikes, but I also love bulldozers. That's my 6-year-old impression. Come on! Health officials in New Jersey this week discovered their first suspected case of monkeypox, and because it's Jersey, you know that's gonna be that guy's nickname forever. Hey, oh, monkeypox, we're getting beers. You're paying, monkeypox. And finally, the food company Kraft announced today that it's changing the name of its popular macaroni and cheese to Mac and Cheese, while the people who eat it for dinner every night will still be known as Kraft Singles. Oh, Goldich. Matthew Goldich, how... Oh, I feel like that guy's gonna meet somebody. The FDA announced today that it will ban the sale of Juul e-cigarettes. In related news, some 15-year-olds just breached the Capitol. The Supreme Court today issued several rulings, including one that overturns a New York State gun law restricting concealed weapons. So move over, tourists. Seriously, move over, because you're gonna get shot. That's right, the Supreme Court overturned a New York State gun law restricting concealed weapons. Because you know how sometimes you'll be on the F train in August and there's no AC, and then it stops in the middle of the tunnel and the conductor doesn't announce anything, and you think to yourself, man, I wish we all had guns. According to a new report, the Biden administration got in touch with Tesla for advice on electric car policy, despite President Biden's public feud with Elon Musk. Yeah, Biden's not afraid to hash it out with someone he disagrees with. He still thinks he can be friends with Mitch McConnell. Hell, just yesterday, he had lunch with that bike. I wondered all day, how does a bike sit at a table? And that's the best possible way to do it. Media mogul Rupert Murdoch is reportedly divorcing his fourth wife, model Jerry Hall. Wow, that's his fourth wife? Who is his first wife, Eve? Former President Trump is reportedly planning to visit Alaska next month, so get ready for that stream of consciousness. It's so good to be in Alaska, which is not connected to the other states. Many people don't know that. Very, very unfair of the mainland. The way they treat Alaska is very unfair. It's very, very... Home of Juno. Juno. That wacky high school girl who got pregnant. She said silly words. She talked in a very silly way, Juno. We love Juno. And that, my friends, is everything I know about you. The makers of Monopoly yesterday released a Hamptons edition of the board game. Said residents, what the hell is income tax? Authorities in Oklahoma arrested an employee at a fast food restaurant this week after a customer found a small bag of crystal meth with their order when they had clearly ordered a large. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office officially approved a request yesterday for Ohio State University to register the word "the" in an attempt to get your dad to stop calling it the Facebook. And finally, tomorrow is National Take Your Dog to Work Day, while for people who work from home, it's National Work Around Your Cat Day. And that, you guys, was a monologue, everybody.